Welcome to another episode of Show and Tell Book Nook. I'm Chantel.
And I'm Amber.
And today's video, we're going to be talking about the 15 books that are on our summer TBR piles. To kind of kick things off, before we get into the video, Amber, what is something new going on in your life?
It's my kid's last day in preschool tomorrow, and to kick the summer off right, they dropped my phone and shattered the back. So we're living the chaos of the transition right now.
Hopefully it's not indicative of how your summer actually is going to go.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I am in the process of finalizing all of the details for my Europe trip next month, part of which, and I'm really excited, I'm going to the Eras tour in Germany, specifically so I can watch the Tortured Poets section, which got added on. For those who don't know, about a year ago, Amber and I went to the LA tour, and so we haven't seen the newest set with that. I'm trying to convince Amber to fly out to Germany with me, but I don't think that'll entirely happen, so we'll just have to go again together when she comes back to the US.
That's a great way to spend your summer. I'm excited for you.
I agree. And speaking of different ways to spend our summer, a lot of it is going to be spent reading. So do you want to kick things off with what is one of the first books that is on your summer TBR pile?
Okay, I know this is going to be a shocker for some, but it's actually Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It has been on my everlasting TBR since it came out, and I think it's finally time.
Finally, it's only been like 6 months.
Yeah,
hurry up with that so you can let me know your thoughts on the ending, especially. Okay, on mine, one of the first ones that I actually just recently found, When Among the Crows by Veronica Roth. I did not know that the Divergent author came out with a new book. When I saw this, I was like, okay, time to go check her out again.
I've heard really good things about this new release. I hope you enjoy it and can maybe convince me to read it after you're done. So my next one is inspired by The Man by Taylor Swift, because I'm going off of one of your song and book recommendations, because I've just been in that mood lately. So it's finally time for me to read Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
I am so ready for you to read this because this is my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Like, this one just completely changed my perspective on a lot of things within the athletics field and with women in particular. And it's 100% coded to The Man. Next for me is a thriller, First Fly Wins by Ashley Elston. It's been popping up all over my feed. Also has had a crazy long wait list at libraries. Thrillers are always helpful because they kind of add a little bit of diversity to my usual rom-com-y summer list.
In that vein, I've added Act of Defiance, which is in the Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy universe, but it actually follows his daughter. Fortunate enough to attend a book signing Q&A with the authors, who are actually Navy veterans, on release day, and they described the book as a love letter to the Hunt for Red October on its 40th anniversary. So it was enough to convince me to read it.
I think it'll be good. And I mean, the kind of like spy political thrillers are very much up your alley. I have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren on my list. That one was an earlier release from this year. I have high expectations for it because Christina Lauren, they have been doing really well with their recent releases. I've loved a lot of them. I am slightly skeptical and hesitant because it's explained kind of similar to The Unhoneymooners. So cautiously optimistic for how this is going to go.
I'm going to let you test the waters on that one because The Honeymooners wasn't my favorite. In line with Christina Lauren, I put Tangled Up in You on my list, which releases on the 25th of June. Disney has adult romance books that are modern day retellings of the classic fairy tales. So obviously it's about Rapunzel.
We'll have to do another video just diving into those, especially after reading Tangled Up in You, because we have a lot of thoughts about this Disney version. So stay tuned for that. Next for me is the X's and O's series by Amy Lee. This is a book series that was recommended by my mom. All I know about it is that it's a light and fluffy rom-com read. I mean, that's enough to go off of. If my mom recommends a book, I usually read it, and I usually tend to like it.
I've got Business Casual, which is set to release on the 16th of July. And it's the fourth installment in the Love Light Farm series.
The series is really cute. This is going to be like the conclusion to it. So I'm also curious to see where she's going to go with her writing after the series is over. But yeah, that was a good one to put on your list. Next on my list is The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. This is one of those books where I have actually no idea what it's about or even what genre it is. We all judge a book from its cover, and so a pretty cover was enough.
I'm really excited for my next one because I talk about this author all the time. The Ex-Vows by Jessica Joyce. It is two exes who I believe have to come together and help with their best friend's wedding at a vineyard, and it has the summer romance comedy vibes. I'm excited to see what happens with her sophomore release.
Next on my list is a book you got an ARC copy of and have been nice enough not to spoil. But it's The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. Catherine Center has been killing it with her recent books, so I'm very excited to see where she goes with this one. And I mean, just the title alone, it's a quintessential like summer read.
There was one part that I'm really interested in having a conversation about, but she is an author that everyone talks about.
I believe Amber has a Sizzling Sunday coming out soon, if it's not up already, about this, if you guys kind of want to see her thoughts as well.
This is one that I'm cautiously optimistic about. It's Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. It's going to be different from what we've seen from her previously. She's already put out an author's note saying that it's more erotic than the books that she's previously released. And if you've been following Ali Hazelwood, her recent books have been all over the board with like a paranormal fantasy romance, a young adult. She's talked about this one having trigger warnings and being more erotic in nature.
Next, I have one of your favorite authors, A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. She wrote Dead Romantics. She wrote The 7-Year Slip. She's done really, really well. She's continuously popular. So this one comes out June 25th, so at the end of this month. And from what I've seen of ARC copies, people have really loved it.
I really, really want it to be good because The 7-Year Slip wasn't my favorite. The Dead Romantics I loved. So I'm hoping that it keeps going.
We'll see.
Okay, so this is War by Megan Quinn, which comes out on the 25th of June. This is her final installment in her hockey romance series. I'm really excited to see what this story has to offer because it's like coach's daughter, forced proximity, some interesting stuff happening trope-wise. And unfortunately, her most recent releases have been kind of flop in my opinion, so I've got high hopes.
Okay, I have Reckless by Lauren Roberts, which comes out July 2nd, on my list. This one should be interesting. I think this is kind of going to be a make or break moment for her as an author. This is the second book in the Powerless series. And for a lot of Bookstagram reviewers I've seen, Powerless was very much a cookie cutter of 3 or 4 distinct works and then just kind of merged into one. There is a lot of pressure on Reckless to see if Roberts is able to pull off a distinct work that is her own, or if it's going to kind of feel cookie cutter like the first one.
I've got Morning Star. It's the third book in the Red Rising saga. I have been putting this book off, and my husband keeps coming at me with the when are you going to read it, because the next installment in the series is also coming out soon. So this summer it's time to get book 3 under the belt.
I'll probably be adding that one to my TBR pile too. Additionally, going on my TBR pile is The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. She is one of my favorite historical fiction authors. I think I've read everything she's ever written except maybe one book. But this one comes out July 9th. Whatever this one ends up being about, I know I will end up liking it. Speaking of, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to do that with Such Charming Liars by Karen M. McManus, which comes out at the very end of July 30th. We loved One of Us is Lying, which is Karen M. McManus's other series. So this is a brand new one, and I am very excited to see what she's going to do with it, how it's going to go, and what plot twist she's going to pull that I don't see coming.
If I'm going to read a thriller or true crime novel, it's usually in the young adult category, and Karen McManus is so good at it. Along those lines, I have the reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, because I feel like every time Karen McManus comes up in conversation, Holly Jackson from the Good Girls Guide to Murder series comes up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this related to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder book.
So we're getting into like the ones I have been waiting for like a year. July 30th, The Grandest Game from Jennifer Lynn Barnes comes out, and this is the 5th book in the Inheritance Game sagas. I cannot wait. So I'm excited to see how she's going to wrap the entire series up and what kind of writing evolution has happened since book 4. So
again, I'm gonna branch out a little bit, and I've got The One That Got Away with Murder on my list. This one has been described in a way that I just was instantly intrigued, but really don't know what I'm getting into.
yeah, you are kind of branching out into different categories this summer. I really hope you stick this one on your list, but I don't know. But I've talked about this all the time. So Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer is coming out on August 6th. I'm just going to keep talking about it and book 2 all summer long until you finally cave and decide to read it.
I am trying to knock off one of my other books that's been on the TBR pile for a long time. I need to get back in my Gilmore Girls reading challenge, so I need to get through David Copperfield by Charles Dickens this summer.
Yeah, good luck. My list is also another one that you read, you had an ARC copy for. So it's The Breakup Pact by Emma Lord. It comes out on August 13th. I am cautiously optimistic about this. Emma Lord is traditionally a YA author. She decided to recently make the jump to an adult book, which is what The Breakup Pact is. So it's going to be interesting and intriguing to see how she takes her YA writing style and evolves it into an adult story.
I'm revisiting my cowboy romance era with Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. Done and Dusted was the first in this series, and it was okay, but I've heard Swift and Saddled is really good, so I'm gonna give it a shot.
I mean, is it really summer without one cowboy-esque kind of romance book? The answer is no. Kind of continuing with the authors bouncing between 2 different categories, I have Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. That one was a recent release earlier this year. This one is an adult book. This one's 2 professional like wedding naysayers. They kind of go and object to different weddings as their like job, and then they meet. And anyway, I've heard really good things. This was a friend recommended it, and I've seen it all over Bookstagram. So I'm excited to read it because I mean the premise itself just sounds fun.
I'm excited for this one because I think you've already read it. It's a little bit more on the serious side. It's The Last Love Note.
You got to have a box of tissues ready. It'll be an insightful book for the summer. Okay, my last book is one that everyone has been kind of looking forward to. It's Daydream by Hannah Grace. It's the 3rd book in the Icebreaker series. So the characters in this one are who we expected book 2 to be about. So this one has been anticipated for a while since Icebreakers. So there's a lot of pressure to see if it's going to live up to what we were expecting. This does also mean that I need to put Wildfire on my TBR pile for the summer as well, because I haven't read book 2 yet. So I definitely need to read book 2 before book 3 comes out on August 27th. We have some good books on the list. We have a lot of books on the list, and I'm sure other ones are going to get thrown in there that we have not talked about. This is going to be interesting to see how many books that you actually get through and are not fully influenced by your mood reading.
And whatever little rabbit hole I decide to go down.
But if you guys have any recommendations for us to kind of put into our TBR pile for this summer, drop it in a comment. If you have a book that you are really looking forward to reading or being released, also let us know. We're constantly looking for new content and new books to review and recommend. So don't forget to like and subscribe, watch another video, and we will see you guys next time. Bravo! 3rd time is a charm.
We did it!